Here and take it live, and then we can chat about the pre-stream shit while we get it all together. Going live. We are live. This is pre-stream stuff, folks. Only those on YouTube get to enjoy the pre-stream. Those that hit the podcast, you miss out on the pre-stream, and we'll make sure we say that after the show starts. All righty. So anyway, I was saying while I was doing research today, some of the websites I went to, they go, "You want to sign up for the newsletter?" And say, "Yeah, I want your news." I signed up for a bunch of ag news.
Ag news?
Agricultural.
Oh, okay.
Agricultural news. I signed up for a lot of agricultural stuff. Only the people who are farmers or machinery or whatever, they're only usually the ones. But there's a lot of really subtle stuff in those news articles that never hits the mainstream, but tells you what's going on in the world. It's really interesting. I saved several links from the stuff here today, and we'll go through them. We'll be going through them a couple of them during the show, so you'll get an idea on what it is all about.
Actually occurred to me to sign up for, as you called, ag news.
Yeah.
But would be a good idea, especially if you're looking into starting your own garden. I guess there's probably that kind of news for specific areas as well as for region.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. Get signed in here to my face crack so I can actually post this out to face crack to go on live. Guess I hadn't used it in such a long time. Facebook actually signed me out. I wonder how long it takes for Facebook to sign you out of something.
I don't know. I guess a few months.
Must be. It's been a while since I've used a Facebook on this browser, so. Yeah, it's really funny. Facebook is so weird sometimes, though.
One of my family members who is in Germany, he's been posting all the pictures he has from when he was in Berlin and all these different places. He's posting pictures of tanks and places they camped. And he was telling me about how when he had posted a place, he said something about the terrible weather when he was building camp there or something. And Facebook cut him down. They tried to remove his post, going, "No, that's false news, fake news."
Of course.
Yeah, he wasn't too pleased with that. He kind of went off on it. He actually found a phone number to call them and went off on them, and they gave him his post back.
How the hell did they find a phone number, man? That's some serious deep research, man. Facebook buries every phone number they possibly have.
I am super impressed. He was pissed off enough to find a damn phone number to bitch at them.
I'm impressed that he found a phone number. That's like a miracle within a miracle within a miracle, man.
Yeah, tell me about it. Now he would be fun to have on the show as a call-in.
There you go. Tell him to join the show sometime.
Maybe he will.
So let's see what we've got here. All sorts of miscellaneous things, factoids. We got lots and lots of stuff to cover here today. I didn't get all the categories I want, but I got enough categories. I didn't get any links for the Rona category.
I've been looking up seeds.
Yeah.
And I've been having a hard time finding seeds.
Yeah, well, we'll be covering that. That's the name of the show, man. Seeds, and more seeds.
Maybe that's why it popped in my head.
That's it, man.
I read it and didn't register what I was reading.
That's content, man. Keep the content for the live show. We want the content for the stuff that's going into the podcast itself.
Fair enough.
Content. I'm going to have to get myself another. My poor clone of my marijuana plant is barely hanging on by its life thread right these days. Hopefully it comes to life and starts growing.
What's wrong with it? Not enough sun?
No, it's under a grow light. It should be fine. It can't be the temperature. My apartment is freaking hot.
Yeah, maybe it's too hot.
No, they grow fine around 75 or 80 degrees, which is what my apartment is without even turning on my heat.
Can you translate that into Celsius for me? I've lost my ability to translate.
20 to 23 degrees.
Thank you. I used to be great at translating when I was always bouncing between the two countries, but over the years I've lost it.
Yeah, I still remember.
My brain just doesn't compute it anymore.
I still remember it from time to time, but But yeah, 20 to 23 degrees. No, it's fine. It's just it might be the growing medium I have it into. I need to transplant it, but it should have some roots now. It's been a little teeny tiny thing with a few leaves for 4 months now. All winter long, it's done nothing. So we'll see what happens. It keeps putting out new leaves, so I know it's alive. But that's all it's really doing. It's got like 3, 4 leaves on it, and it's like 2 inches tall. Not even 2 inches, maybe 2 inches, 2 inches tall. Little bitty thing.
Are they actually like growing tomato plants? Because that's what I've been told, is that they're very similar to tomato plant.
Yes, they are. They're very similar to tomato.
Okay.
So yeah, it is what it is. And
so if you grow it up next to whatever plant, it'll take on that a mild scent and flavor of that plant.
Oh,
which is really cool.
I have to try that. We'll grow it next to some hot peppers.
Hot peppers, or someone I knew grew it next to their blueberries and strawberries, and it was a very interesting flavor.
Yeah. I need to get my hands on some seeds. Do you know if they sell seeds in the pot stores?
They sure do.
Do they? What do they charge for them?
Yep. I have no idea.
Oh, who frequents the pot store that you know of?
Pretty much everyone I know.
Ask them to check on the seeds. Ask them to get me some seeds. I'll get them some cash. I never go into the pot stores. I just need a few seeds so I can start my own plants. I'm allowed to have 6 plants.
Something that I've been told is that the seeds you get from there, they're made so that they can't create their own seeds.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. So you can get the seeds, but they won't create their own.
Yeah, they're usually like that, but you never know, because every once in a while you might get seeds. They're nuke seeds so that it'll grow the plant, but it won't grow the stuff too. I'm trying to remember what they call them. Neutered seeds? No, it's not neutered. There's a term. There's a term for it, and they do that with when you buy a lot of hybrid seeds for garden seeds that are hybrids. They won't produce seed. They grow the plant, but they don't produce seed. That's something they do genetically. They're genetically modified to not produce seeds.
Yeah, which I guess that makes sense, but it's also just weird to me.
It's to prevent you from buying the seeds once, then growing your own plants forever. Thing is, though, is once you grow one plant, you never have to worry about seed again, because marijuana is easily cloned.
Oh, okay.
As long as you take the clones at the right time. My problem was I took my clones too late last year. I took them too late in the year. The plants were already heading into bud. So
they weren't pleased with this.
Well, it didn't hurt the bud growth. It hurt the clones. The clones didn't take. I planted 12 clones and 1 survived. I took 12 cuttings and I ended up with 1 left by the end of it. So I've got 1 left growing in my living room that I said is 2 inches tall, a couple of leaves. All right, so where are we at? We are live in 7.5 minutes, so we're doing good. I need to start this. That's what I need to do. I need to start this. All right, let's get something. All right, let's have you talk a few moments.
You know what everybody should definitely have in their house?
What's that?
Hot chocolate.
Oh, I thought everybody does have hot chocolate, don't they?
No, not everybody has hot chocolate. A buddy of mine, he never has hot chocolate, I guess because he doesn't really drink the stuff.
Oh.
So I gave him hot chocolate for his birthday, and he's just like, thanks. It's still sitting there unopened until me and my girls went back over to his place, and the girls asked to have some hot chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Literally, I gave it to him like months ago, and the only people who have had any hot chocolate are his visitors. He doesn't like hot chocolate, but...
No, nothing you can do about that. Not everybody likes it, I guess.
But everybody should have hot chocolate anyway. Even if you don't drink it yourself, you'll eventually have someone over who will definitely want that hot chocolate.
Yeah, I keep it for my boys. I don't drink hot chocolate. I'm not a fan of it.
I love it.
Let's see if I can adjust my mic just a little bit here. Check one. Tet. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Get that broadcaster voice all tuned up and ready to go. Rock and roll it. We got lots and lots of stuff happening.
Bingo, boom, boom, chakalaka, boom, 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 chakalaka, boom, boom. You will obey.
33, that's a magic number.
There we go. Okay, we're all good. Gotta love it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty much what it was. It was a wow. It was a massive wow. All right, we're getting down there now. That's all working. All the noises are tuned in. We are all set and ready to rock and roll. Yeah, that's a significantly shorter song. Gotta keep an eye on that sort of thing.
What do you mean?
Oh, our theme song for this is a minute less than our theme song for the other show.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't start the song too soon. You know, I want to start the song at about the right point of time to, you know, come in,
Bring us into it.
bring us right into the show, the actual show start time. You know, so that way it's not taking over everything. All right, let's see what we got. What else we got? Okay, I'll be back in a sec.
Okie dokie. How long is a second in your world, I wonder? Sometimes a second is only like actually a second. Sometimes a second is like 10 minutes. So, but who knows? I don't have any of the awesome little sounds. If I had the ability to make the little sound things, I'd be pressing all the buttons right now and seeing which one was which. It'd be really fun too, actually. I bet I could make some really entertaining combos if I had access to that to that pad of buttons. You want to say hi, Sean?
Hello. Hey, folks.
Don't think we really have anyone listening yet.
That was an
Hey,
extended. That was an extended second. Well, we had a third one, then they disappeared. So maybe they got bored because we were still in pre-show time.
Could be.
You know, well, Lizzie, this is I like this versus like I tune into some live streams and I get there early sometimes, and it's just a looping piece of elevator music. You know, and I really
I definitely don't like the pre-stream that is like looping elevator music. That's just irritating.
Yeah. It's like at least this they get a little voice action and they can find out what's up. All right, I've sent out the bat signals. We're coming up on time. It is time to bring us into showtime with a little Days of Thunder.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the
Are we Hobbit? That is such a cool song. I truly enjoy that song. Alrighty. It is time to take it live. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall. And with me is the ever lovely
Amber.
And we have the new episode 6 of Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern. Tavern Talk Live. And today's topic is seeds. Seeds and more seeds. So, as it was in the Old West, this is the saloon or the tavern as you would have it, the center of the community where everything gets done, from shooting the shit to talking gossip to finding out what the latest news is and deciding who it's time to go out and shovel the shit. All right, this show is a value for value show, and we like to acknowledge the No Agenda Show for their inspiration of ideas and the stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
All right, and this show, unlike them, we do have an agenda, and that agenda is to share as much news information as we can conjure up, help you out with preps in life and other stuff that's happening in and around the world. And our motto for this show, these trials fall under the adage of hard times make good men make good times make soft men make hard times. Guess what segment of that one we are in, folks?
And so it goes round and round.
Round and around, the wheel turns again. The cycle never ends. It is a constant wheel of turning. You don't believe me? Just look in the stars. We have just entered a 26,000 years, no, 2,600 year cycle, not 26,000, 2,600 year cycle. As we
Yeah, I was about to correct you there, but
yeah, no, I keep wanting to extend it out. 2,600 year cycle as we entered into the age of Aquarius on December 21st of 2020, right in the middle of the Corona scamdemic. The Wuhan flu. You know, I've already removed those. I can't play it anymore. I have to put one of them back from time to time. All right, a couple of other tidbits for you, just so I'm covering up notes and other bits and pieces. Where'd my notes go? All right, here's the other notes. Tavern Oracles. I believe you were supposed to come up with the Tavern Oracles, weren't you?
I sort of started the Tavern Oracles.
Yeah.
We have the one thing. We need more people to make
Do we? What do we have?
predictions.
Oh, yes, okay.
We've only got one prediction. I shoved it in there when we made it last show.
Oh, okay. No more COVID by the end of summer 2021. Something else is going to dominate the mainstream media. Alt tech and alt medias will have to have their own sayings on what the truth is. M5M will have their say on what the truth is so that they can keep all the power they have achieved throughout this past year. Okay, that's the Tavern Oracles. Make sure you go check those out. I got to get that up online. That's what I was supposed to do. Okay, it's my fault. All right, my bad.
Yes, always your fault.
I haven't got around to it yet. I need to adjust some things here. And one other note, Mr. Friendly from our last show, which unfortunately is still not live on YouTube, simply because we got slapped with a copyright claim. Not a strike, a copyright claim, because we were critiquing a video, and I guess they don't like anyone talking about their videos or looking at them online and showcasing it on theirs. But I'm trying to erase this stuff. It's going to cost about 5 to 10 minutes of the episode, but it should be up there. It takes YouTube forever to edit out a 10-second segment. You tell them to edit it, and it takes them 5-6 hours. And you just keep doing it. Problem is, I keep forgetting. So that'll be live eventually. But we're gonna endeavor today to not get hit with any of those copyright claims that cause our show
to be all warped out of whack.
Well, not be
warped out of shape.
blocked in every country across the globe. So I'll endeavor to not do that anymore. So it's just a pain in the neck. So there's a link in the show notes to Mr. Friendly's blog. Make sure you go check that out. And he was, of course, on our last show. But you can get the entire show downloaded off our website at theroguestavern.com or pick it up through Podcasting 2.0 Index. I have yet to submit it to Apple's Index because I just can't be bothered yet. I should submit it there because a lot of people still use Apple's Index. But the Podcasting 2.0 Index is going to be bigger than they are. After all, the Apple Index originated from Adam Curry. That's where it originally started at anyway.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Adam Curry, he's called the Podfather for a reason. and Dave Cullen, I think. I can't remember the guy's name. Dave something. Him and another guy invented podcasting. They took the RSS feed, created the first thing. Adam Curry created the first index when Apple put podcast into their iTunes or their iTunes store, or not iTunes, but the iPod, the original iPod, the little square thing. When Apple introduced that, one of the very first things showcased was not the No Agenda show, but another show that Adam Curry was doing at the time. And Adam Curry was up on stage with Steve Jobs, showcasing it. And one of the first things that came out of the mouth was "Apple sucks" or something to that effect. It was really quite comical. You can find it online. It's on YouTube. It's really quite comical. It really is. All right, enough of that random stuff. Let's get to our main thing here for the show today. So the main thing for the show today is we are talking about prepping for 2021 and beyond. And one of the things you should be prepping for, and if you hadn't started this last year, you definitely need to start it this year, and that is building your own little garden. If it's small, on your balcony, whatever it is, you need to get started. As I say, the best year to have started gardening was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. So you want to be doing it now if you're not already doing it. But if you're already doing it, you probably know this. But there is a major seed shortage going on across the globe right now. And let's take a little listen here from the Ice Age, or a little listen, but a thing about article from the Ice Age farmer about seed shortages. He's got a whole video here about seed companies warn of delays and shortages. Now, I've already noticed this. I was way ahead of the curve. I knew this was coming because in the spring, I had some problems getting a few of the seeds I wanted. I managed to find them in obscure stores that still had stuff on their shelves that nobody ever buys seeds at. Like there's a grocery store I shop at. They have a little seed rack in a little corner over by their floral displays. Nobody ever goes there. Nobody thinks to buy seeds at the grocery store. So I found my seeds there. But major places such as Canadian Tire, nurseries, and others, they were running short of seeds, along with the websites of the seed companies were running out of seeds. And it started last year about the same time as we started running short on shit paper.
Yeah.
And that was because all of a sudden everybody's locked up at home. What am I going to do with my time? Hey, I've always wanted to make a garden. So they decided to make a garden, not realizing how hard it is to create a garden. Because it takes a lot to get a garden going. Seriously. Your first year of gardening is usually an almost absolute failure. At best, you get 50%. I was amazed last year. I got an 80%, 90% crop level on my first year.
But you're also a very experienced gardener.
That's true. I just hadn't done it in almost 2 decades. I'd only done my patio gardening and been, half-assed at it and got a few things off it. I didn't treat it very seriously, but I was always researching it because it's always been a hobby of mine. Everywhere I've ever lived in life, I usually had a house and a yard, and I don't care what my landlord said, I'd chew up a corner of it and turn it into a garden. Not that I ever asked, but because it's like food, man. It's like, to me, the biggest waste of land in any home is green grass.
Yep, it really, really is.
It's a waste of water. It's a waste of resources, waste of energy. It provides nothing back for you. And if you grass, okay, I shouldn't say it, you're allowed small pieces of it, a place to put a table and an umbrella so you can sit back in the shade and enjoy your beers or whatever. But on the whole, a garden is what you need, something that's going to produce food. Well, this year I did, and I produced a lot. So much so I'm still eating some of it that I harvested last fall. I'm still eating the tomatoes I can, some veggies I canned, my salsa that I canned. I've still got a couple of spaghetti squashes in the cupboard. And, I just finished off my onions and my garlic a few weeks ago, which had made me through almost the entire winter. And I gave away a whole bunch. If I hadn't given away so much of it, I'd still be eating them. But I gave away a lot from my harvest. So seeds. So you want seeds. And this has gotten so much attention now that we've got an article here, and this hit the mainstream news. We're talking M5M time. We're talking CBC, the Canadian butt kissing corporation. And they've got an article in here about the fear of shortages driving a rush to buy seeds. And newbies, gardeners, gardening veterans alike are seeking to avoid last year's drama. And this article goes on to talk about last year's seed shortage and this year's seed shortage. And like, I bought all my seeds this year in early December, knowing full well what was going to happen. And even I've gone back a couple of times to pick up a couple of extra seeds, and the stuff I bought in December, they're out of stock on already. And I was in one of the nursery stores, and their seed stock was already 25% empty.
Wow, like in January?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's Buckerfields, which is one of the most popular places for people to go.
I didn't have trouble finding the seeds that I was looking for, but I went looking for them in December, and I have all the seeds I need, but I was thinking about looking about for fruit seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I thought maybe some blueberries or strawberries. Strawberries are really easy because they're a weed.
Yeah.
But I can't find any, for one, that are actually from Canada online. That's been my biggest problem, is I look for seeds online, and they're like, I read the little comments, and most of the comments are people who've been gardening for years, and are like, no, these aren't Canadian seeds.
Yeah.
These are foreign seeds, Chinese seeds, whatever.
You want some strawberries?
Yeah, I figured I'd just go and get a clipping of yours. But
yeah,
I was curious.
I've got 24 strawberries growing, 24 plants growing.
Perfect. I'll just grab a clipping of yours. But like I said, I was curious. I wanted to see what was going on.
It's funny though you say that, because what's interesting is it's not very common to buy plants like strawberries and blueberries as seeds. Mainly because strawberries take a couple of years to go from seed to producing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And blueberries take a couple, 3-4 years to go from seed to producing, because blueberry is a bush. So if you grow it from seed, the first year it's going to grow very small, not produce much. And the next year it'll grow bigger. But what it's got to do is it's got to establish a root system. It's like even when you buy the strawberry or the blueberry bush, the first year you plant it, you're lucky if you get any blueberries. Strawberries, if you start with a plant, you'll get strawberries the first year, but if you start with seed, you won't get them the second year. It's like
interesting.
My blueberries I planted last year produced nothing. It's like my blackberries I planted last year, they produced me like 3.
Blackberries are one of my most evil nemesis in any garden I've ever tried having.
These aren't the same blackberry. These aren't the prickly blackberries, the ones I planted. They're the non-prickly ones. They produce a bigger, juicier blackberry. I can't remember. They're the different variety.
Wait, there's such thing as non-prickly blackberries?
Yep. My blackberry plants have no thorns on them. They're thornless, which makes it really nice when you go to pick them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like such a better idea. Our island is like being overgrown by the prickly ones. They're evil.
Oh, I know, but that's the way it works. But yeah, your first couple of years with mini plants, you get nothing. It's like when I transplanted my raspberries, I got a very small crop on them. If I'd left them in the bed they were in, I would have got a regular crop. But because I moved them, it disturbs the roots, and they have to spend time growing their roots back. What's that?
Sorry, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think the hot chocolate is made.
And it's like we planted a pear. We planted or two pear trees and an apple tree this year. And while they flowered, they didn't produce anything.
Yeah, I think it takes those guys a couple of years before they start producing.
Yeah, it takes a little while for them to settle in. It's like when you're planting stuff, you're thinking years out. You're not thinking same season. There's a lot of crops that you get crops off the same season. Tomatoes, squashes, corn, lettuce, onions, carrots, all of those things. Garlic. All of that you can get the same season. But many things you got to wait a couple of years before you get anything, especially fruit. Most fruit. It's like I've planted goji berries this year, but I won't see anything from them for 3 years. I planted
Goji berries.
goji berry seeds, the little Japanese red berry. See,
I'm just.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking, those are one of those superfood
Yes.
foods that suddenly became popular over the past couple of years, aren't they?
Yes, they are, and they grow here, which is why it's kind of like I've also got kiwis. I've got kiwi vines. Of course, the first year all they did was extend their vine out. Next year or this coming year, I expect to get a few kiwis off it, and in the following years, I should get multiple crops off of it.
I didn't know kiwis could grow here, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, our weather is no different from the South Island in New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we grow all kinds of this island here. They've discovered they can grow all kinds of things on the island. Somewhere on the island they've got citrus. I know another place a guy has planted. He's planted what are those little mushrooms? The really, really high priced mushrooms.
I don't know.
Gourmet mushrooms. Okay, we're
Portobello?
No, Portobello's available in the grocery store. Gourmet mushrooms.
Wait, there's gourmet mushrooms that aren't available at grocery stores?
Yep. Lots of them grow wild here on the island.
I know that I don't know if we have truffles here.
That's
That'd
it.
be kinda
That's what I'm
cool.
looking for. Truffles.
Oh,
There's a guy that he started a truffle farm on the island. It took him
cool.
7 years to get his first crop.
wow. No wonder they're so expensive.
Yeah, well, even when they start producing, they don't produce a lot, and you got to have a special truffle dog or a pig to get your truffles. The problem with using a pig is it often eats the truffle on you.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, but the dogs, if you get a well-trained dog, he just points to it and he doesn't dig it up, thereby damaging it. They use special dogs to find the truffles because while you know where they're growing, you'd have to dig the whole thing up to find them. But if you can use something to pinpoint it, it makes it easier to harvest your truffles. I remember watching a special on it one time, and on the guy that created the truffle farm on the island. One thing he had to do, he had to plant special trees because they grow best under certain trees. Like all mushrooms do, like chanterelles, which are available in the grocery store in the fall, but only because they're so wild on the island that mushroom pickers go out, pick them, and sell them to the grocery stores. I'm trying to think, we have a lot of them. I was going to take a fungus course on how to identify mushrooms and stuff on the island, and I was all set and ready to take it this last fall, but of course,
Shit hit the fan.
Shit hit the fan. No more in-person stuff. All right. Well, maybe in a couple of years. I really want to learn to identify mushrooms, and I can identify chanterelles, but I hadn't identified them, and I don't have no one to confirm it with me in several decades now, and so I'm never 100% certain because there is a mushroom that has a similar look to a chanterelle that is poisonous. So you don't want to take that one home and fry it up.
Yeah.
So let's see. We've got another couple articles here about the seed shortage, and next one here is this one comes from Modern Farmer, and they're talking is be prepared for a possible seed shortage, and its garden seeds are selling fast already. And this was an article here from the end of January. Yeah,
Wow.
Middle of January, January 18th. And they talk to you about what you need to do, some things to pay attention to. Of course, this comes out of the States, but you got to consider Canada's never really too far behind the States. So
No, it's really not.
And so a lot of companies are experiencing, like even the Canadian site I go to, West Coast Seeds, they've got a lot of stuff on their site that says coming soon. Because I remember all the stuff that they start stocking in December is stuff they harvested just that past year.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to get it in there because they got to process the seeds, get them cleaned, and it's a process on some seeds to process them up to get them clean. And it's like I'm learning the art of threshing because I don't have machines to help clean my seeds, so I have to learn the art of threshing.
Threshing?
Yeah, it's where you first, like lettuce seeds. It's like I finally got my lettuce seeds cleaned this weekend when I hooked up a small fan so I could have a constant airflow to get rid of all the chaff. So I had nothing but clean seeds. Chaff, threshing. So you thresh them down, you end up with a lot of chaff. You end up with a lot of chaff, and then you got to get rid of the chaff so you could find the seeds. And especially with something like lettuce seeds, they're a really fine seed.
Yeah.
And so you got to be able to get to them. And several seeds I were like that this year. One seed I was harvesting, it was the first time I didn't quite have an asthma attack, but it gave me such a massive sinus attack from the dust. It was just insane. Suffered for 2 days from that. That's another point about seeds. You want to make sure you don't have to worry about seeds. Start collecting your own. And to let you know, it's not an easy thing to do. It's like, this is my first year ever in all of my years of gardening, collecting my own seed, processing my own seed. And what's great is I've been starting my seeds in the last week or two, and I've been using my seeds wherever I can, and they're all starting to grow. So it means all my seeds were good. I did good. I didn't take the seed too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another lovely article from uh-oh. It froze.
From uh-oh?
No, my mouse. There it goes. Every once in a while, my mouse, the connection to my USB for my mouse just sort of disappears for about 5 to 10 seconds, and it comes back, and it's like, oh, you do have something plugged in there. It's really quite irritating.
Actually, on the thing that you have up right, at least I'm seeing it on the YouTube.
Yeah, it's the plant. Plant now, plant later.
It says that the seed starting supplies, including adjustable lights, essential for starting seeds indoors, are already sold out.
Yeah, there's that too. I hadn't thought about that, but I'm not starting them indoors. Yeah, you need grow lights if you're growing it in your house, unless you've got a really perfect south-facing window.
Yeah.
If you've got a nice south-facing window, you're in good shape. All right, so here's the next one here. This one here is from kosu.org. And they're talking about the coronavirus is worsening the seed shortage for farmers and gardeners. And that's another little tidbit I got in here just before the end, is that it's not just gardeners that are starting to see shortages. It's the farmers. And if they can't get seed, we're in a world of hurt.
The farmers?
Yeah, the farmers.
Oh, wow.
The people that grow produce, deliver it to grocery stores.
Well, that seems kind of odd. Wouldn't they keep their own seed?
They're not allowed to. Many types of crops that are grown, they're not allowed to keep.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? You didn't know this?
No. Why aren't they allowed to keep their own seeds? That kind of defeats the purpose of being a farmer, doesn't it?
It does, but they're growing genetically modified seeds. And the genetically modified seeds have a patent on them. And the patent is owned by the person who owns the seeds, and the largest amounts of them being soybean, corn, and wheat. The Monsanto had the patent on the seeds, and they were seeds that, in particular, they're Roundup Ready seeds. So that
what does that mean?
Roundup is the herbicide, geophosphate herbicide, which has been blamed for killing the bees and many other problems in life. And there's a gene inside the seed, so when the plant grows, they can spray Roundup on it, and it doesn't kill the plant, because Roundup kills everything, literally everything.
Okay.
It is a weed killer and a plant killer. It just kills indiscriminately. So they have to buy seeds every single year. Every single year they got to buy seeds.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now, once upon a time, farmers used to grow their crop, and they would keep back a portion of their crop for next year's crop. Their seed, and they would have to clean their seed and everything else, because it's still the same. But no, you'd have to look it up. I have no idea what the state of Roundup is. Monsanto was bought up by Bayer. Bayer changed their name, quickly crushed them into non-existence for the most part, kept the divisions and all the shit they're doing, and all the evil shit they're doing to the planet, but now it's under the Bayer brand, and Bayer has a much better PR team. So I haven't heard anything in the news about Monsanto in years now, not since Bayer bought them.
Yeah, Monsanto's a name I heard back in the 90s, I think.
Well, 90s all the way up through the 2000s. All the way somewhere around 2015 to 2018, they disappeared from my radar, because I just really hadn't given them much thought. So anyway, this is another article here talking about it. Both farmers and home gardeners may have trouble finding enough seeds to plant. And what they say, the causes are unrelated. Part of it is supply line issues created by the coronavirus, people not working, trucks being shut down, truck drivers losing their job, because they wouldn't wear a stupid mask. All those sorts of things.
That actually reminds me of something I read. I like to read the comments of the videos I watch.
Yeah.
I don't read too many of them. I just read like the first
Mhm.
20 or 30.
Yeah.
And someone was saying under an Adapt 2030 video how the harvest hasn't actually gone down yet. So because the harvest hasn't gone down yet for the last 2 years, everything he's saying is just BS. And I found that really entertaining. Because of course it hasn't gone down yet. We're still dealing with the interruptions.
Oh, but it went down. The harvest was down last year, and whoever left that comment is full of shit because they're obviously not looking at the stats. Which on DAP 2030 he posts up the he puts into his video the stats.
But what I mean is it hasn't gone down enough to really to really make a difference in the grocery stores for this year, but it is going to be disrupted next year. Yeah, so we're still dealing with the initial disruptions.
But you have to remember one other thing. What you're buying in the grocery store today
is already a year old.
It's already not last year's crop, but the year before. It's 2 years ago. It's the system has gotten to such a point where things are, they're in the pipelines to be moved through. But in another year or two, there's going to be a serious shortage of corn. There's going to be a big shortage of soy-based things. They're going to switch it, of course, at that point to crickets.
Yeah, that's going to be weird.
They're going to go to crickets or mealworms. Yeah. But there's going to be there's going to be a shortage of wheat, soy, and corn, our three main staple products. China has been buying up mass amounts. China lost most of their crops the last couple of years. In fact, they went so far as to hide the fact that they had nothing in storage, that many of their storage things blew up.
Oh.
They caught fire, destroyed everything in there. So they didn't have to.
That's magical.
That's magical. Yes. It was very magical. Yes. Again, over at not DAP 2030, but the Ice Age Farmer, man, he tracks that stuff, and he's got videos from last year describing the different storage places that went up in smoke magically. And you got the devastation that went through the middle of the United States. It went through the Corn Belt of the United States last year. Was that big Draco storm, they call it, and it wiped
the one
out,
that flattened everything.
Flattened 3 states.
Yeah.
Flattened across 3 states, but where it went through, it was right in the middle of the cornfields, the Corn Belt. So almost every farm that got destroyed was corn. Not to mention, it took out several silos that were packed full of corn, because you can see the pictures they took of them where there's just corn spread everywhere, and that corn's now no good. They can't feed it to feed. They can't feed it to the animals. Nothing. It's no good, and it's no good for being sent into the food pipeline,
which sucks.
Yeah. So we're going to see a lot of that coming up down the line. We got the Jubilee Farm one here again, talking about this one. Here's a better article, one that can help you. It's got 12 ways to prevent a seed shortage while we welcome new gardeners. What this is, it goes through how to collect seed and what to do on it. So it's a lot of things to do. Oops. So go check that one out. All right, and one last article here, and this one here is from AARP. Save seeds now to avoid a pandemic shortage. In other words, grow your own, save your own seeds. And how to do that. I'll start making some things next year. I'll make things on how I save my seed and what I go through to clean it all up and everything else from the different plants. This year I'll save even more seeds from more plants, because I've got a few more out there.
Get the kids to take notes for you.
Yeah. Get them to come videotape it. Take notes. Wow, that's good weed. I barely took 2 puffs. Could just be my lightweightness. Okay, let's see where we go. All right, we've been at this just over half an hour. All right, well, we buried the lead for the most part. Let's wander off onto different directions and see what kind of stuff comes wandering in. All right, what do we got? Here's some topics we have to choose from. World of finances, worry about our food supply, global warming, crazy weather, grand solar minimum, no agenda links. Other news. Hey, let's start with this other news. This is a big
Okay.
one. This is a big one. This is the one I promised to talk about anyway. This is the last 2 weeks or week and a half of the Wall Street bets on the stock GameStop game store.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week, I think.
Yeah. So they're trying to the news media is so blatantly lying, man. They're just not even indiscriminate about the lies anymore. They're just not even bothering to try and pretend to hide.
They don't have to be.
Oh my God.
They won, man. They don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, I know. It's just so sad. It's like the stuff coming out of their mouths astounds me. At any rate, this is the stock market shorts. I think I've been drinking. Wow. All right.
Come on, you can do it.
Yeah, I can. The stock market short squeeze.
There you go.
Is what we're going to be talking about. This is the GME stock that a bunch of Redditors from the Reddit forum, Wall Street Bets, got together and started buying up this stock, and they drove the price from somewhere around $7 to $10 when they started this to at one point over $340, closing today somewhere around $190. So basically, they help make millionaires out of many people, and unfortunately, I was not one of them. A stock I'd thought about buying last year when it was down pretty cheap, and I thought, well, I don't know if they'll make it. And I went, didn't buy it. So wish I had. I could have afforded a couple hundred shares, even a couple hundred shares at if I'd have been silly enough and sold it at $340. 200 times 340 is $68,000.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's life-changing money, man. $68,000 can do a lot in your life. Pay off debts, down payment for a home, all kinds of cool things. So at any rate, what happened is what they're betting against is short sellers are generally hedge funds. And to explain it, as so many people, it's like many people across the internet this week have gotten a full explanation of what short selling is. Short selling the stock market. And anyone who hasn't gotten that explanation doesn't watch things like Tim Pool and Redonkulous, and I'm trying to think of them, all the places I watch. Even Sticks and Hammer did one, although he wasn't very good at explaining it. It's like all these, virtually almost all the alt media, because they're talking about this story, and even the mainstream media was explaining to people what a short sell is. Some better than others, but it's like anyone who didn't get an education on short selling has been not paying attention to the media this week.
I'd be one of those people.
Yeah, that would definitely be you if you haven't got an explanation between the time I mentioned this on Friday last week and today. You've not caught up with your media.
Well, they started explaining it on No Agenda, and then I got distracted by the kids' schoolwork.
Even the No Agenda show explained it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like everybody. So yeah, so you almost got it. You just didn't get the full explanation.
Yeah.
All right. So in a nutshell, what short selling is there's a stock. It's at $10 a share. Now, if I'm going to short sell it, what I want to do is I want to take that $10 stock that belongs to somebody else. I want to borrow it from them, and I want to sell it. So basically what happens is I do borrow that stock from them through a brokerage house or however it works. I pay a small fee to borrow that stock from them. Now I take that stock and I sell it for $10. And what I'm hoping is the price of the stock goes down. Now let's say this stock goes down to $5. So now what happens is I then buy back that stock and then I return it to the guy I borrowed it from. Like I didn't owe him any money. What I owed him was a stock.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I borrowed his stock. I sold his stock. The price went down. I then bought back his stock. I give him back his stock, plus a fee for borrowing his stock.
Okay.
So that's the only cash to go. So what happens in that process, for simplicity's sake, I made $5. Now I do that on 100 shares. That's, $50. 1,000 shares, $500, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So usually the people doing short selling are not your retail traders. Retail traders are your average person on the street. pretty much,
Okay.
90% of the population would be at retail level of buying stock. They buy a stock, and they usually buy stock with cash, and they own the stock, and that's it. But they don't have thousands of dollars to bet on short selling, because short selling is a bet, and it's a bet the stock would go down. Now, the problem comes in is, what if that stock doesn't go down? Okay.
What if it goes up?
What if it goes up? Now, I've now sold that stock for $10 a share, and I got my $10, but that stock doesn't go down to 5 like I bet on. What happens? It rises $340.
Oh,
So now what I have to do is I still have to give that guy back his share. I said, I'm borrowing your share. I'm going to return it to you in 24 hours or 3 days or whatever. They set a time that I have to return that share by. If I don't return that share by, what happens is I'm forced to buy the stock to return that share. I must always return that share.
oh man.
So what happens is, now that stock rises up to $340. I sell that. I have to buy that stock back at $340 to give it back to the guy I borrowed it from. Now it costs me $330 to buy that share, and I lost $330.
And so the reason why they did this was
That's a
to
magic number.
The reason why I did this is what?
work against the hedge funds.
The hedge funds. They wanted to bring down the hedge funds, and they started to bring
Okay.
them down. They were driving, that stock price was driving up at $340. It wasn't stopping. And then they started pulling out the stops. The trading app, which is what a lot of people, not most, but a very large amount of people started using a couple of years ago. And it's a misnomer called Robinhood, and we'll get to that. But what it allows is your average person with a smartphone and $500 to $1,000 they can put into an account to open up a stock trading account.
Hmm.
And they can start trading stocks. The problem is that the Robinhood app is the one that manages your trades, and they didn't actually manage them themselves. They managed them through another company. And what happened was Robinhood prevented everyone from buying shares. They would not let them buy shares, but they would let them sell shares. Because what needed to be happen now is that stock price needed to be brought down, so the hedge fund operators, who actually own 40% of Robinhood.
Oh,
I know. It gets, when you start following this story, it gets so incestuous up there. And you think Hollywood is incestuous? They got nothing on Wall Street. Wall Street companies are so incestuous, man. They all own each other. They've all got their heads up each other's asses. But yet they're getting rich and we're not. So, and that's because they run a game and it's rigged. It's like if you know how to count cards, you can't go into casino and play cards.
yeah.
They will call you as cheating. Well, that's how the system's rigged in Wall Street. The exact same thing. If you figure out what they're doing and you use their exact same techniques, they stop. They go, whoa, wait a minute, flip the board and say, oh, we need to start this game over. New rules. It's exactly what they did this last week too. And of course, the media is complicit with them because they get a lot of money from Wall Street. So they have to be complicit and put out stories. And they put out fake stories. They put out massive amounts of really horrendous false stories. It was just, and they went so far as to say that the hedge fund guys were the good guys in this, not your average Joe, but the hedge fund guys were the good guys. We got to help save these billionaires. And we're talking billionaires because the company that supposedly it cost them $70 billion last week, and there's more to lose.
I hope they keep losing.
Which is the general consensus amongst the public right now. This is one thing that has brought the left and the right together. Seriously.
Yeah, I can see how.
It's like fighting with your brother and sister, and then someone else comes out and picks on you. You go, oh, wait a minute. And you guys forget all, but it's really funny to see how many people on the left and the right are in on this and both talking the same language. And I bet most of them don't even realize they're doing that yet. They're like, wait a minute,
Probably
we
not.
have something in common with those idiots? Yes, you do. We all have something in common. You can, even with your most disagreeable person you can always find one or two things in common. You know, because humans have so many different things, and if you work at building on that, we had a much better world for a while when they were actually working on building on that. What do we have in common? Even if it's the fact that we only both of us breathe oxygen and must eat on a regular basis to sustain our bodies. So yeah, this is the attack, and the thing is, they tried to say, oh, the Redditors are pulling out of this, and they're going to short squeeze silver now. And no. And all the people on Reddit say, no, it's a trap, man. It's a trap. It's a massive trap. It really is. Yeah, this first article I got in here is the anatomy of a short attack, which it describes a bit about how shorts work again. You know, I've got another article in here. Oh, that's the one here. Let's go. Amid the enthusiasm, there's a dangerous thing. These are a lot of Reddit articles about it. A dangerous misconception that needs to be done. The real reason why Wall Street is... Here you go. Here's another one. This is a really good article here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this is an article here about why Wall Street is so terrified of the GMC situation, because if you can get a few million people, which is all it really is right now, is it's a few million people doing this to Wall Street. Just think what happens if half the population takes their little $1,600 stimulus check and invests it into multiple companies that are that are shorted. And at any given point, there's a shitload of stocks that are anywhere from 25 cents to $7 a share that are constantly shorted. You know, and I know the short assholes have done that. It's one of the reasons why even Tesla got behind this GME thing.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah. He put out a tweet, get them shorty, man. Short the shorters. Kill the short. Because Tesla stock, he's fought for years on people constantly shorting his stock, trying to drive the price of the stock down. He's made comments. He's gotten himself in trouble with the SEC because as the CEO of a company, you have to be very careful what you say public about your company because it can influence the stock price. So he's gotten himself in trouble for doing that. You know, so it's actually quite interesting. Yeah, well, we've got a YouTube video here. I'm not going to play any more videos for a while unless I know that video is clear to go. And then, Tony Heller's a good one. I know I can play his. So this one here is Tony Heller talking about energy prices are going to be skyrocketing next couple of years. They've already seen it in the States. Gasoline's already jumped up to two something per gallon. Here in Canada, we've already seen just since the inauguration of the Idjit down there. Since his inauguration, our gas prices jumped almost 20 cents a liter.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's jumping up already. I knew it was going to jump eventually, but it suddenly took sudden spikes. You know, and it's like, yeah. And I know that because my oil stocks I have are starting to raise in price, which means they're starting to have confidence in oil companies again. That may be the one good thing for me if they drive up oil prices and everything. I've got a lot of stock in that area, and it's been very low for a while. And I was like, yeah, I'll lose money on it if I sell it. I'm not selling it. I'm starting to see it come up, and it's breaking even and getting up again.
It's a good thing, at least.
Yeah, well, that's one benefit. You know, so that one there. So this is one of the big breaking stories of the week, and it's something that you should look into. If nothing else, you get a very good education about the stock market and how a lot of stock trades are made and done.
I've been trying to understand the stock market here and there, and every time I kind of find the time to research it, I just get confused all over again.
It's made to be. What's really funny about it is it's very straightforward. But the way
until you try to learn it?
But the way they write about it or they try to educate people, they make it like I can't even think of what it is. They just make it insanely hard to understand because they throw in lots of unnecessary words into the mix. I took a statistics course in college once, and that course was the most insane course I took. You know, business stats, I think it was. But you got to use, but statistics, you got to learn statistics to do psychology.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, now I understand. I made the connection.
When you're doing studies psychological studies. You got to figure out how to make charts and use stats. I used to know how to read all those studies charts and everything else. And so it's like it's data, and data is so manipulable. I learned that when I was taking my psych degree. When I was doing my psych degree, I learned that the data. I could do a study, and I could make that study say anything I wanted it to say.
99% of people agree with that.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is, and that's why studies are so hard for me to believe most of the time. Unless they give the raw data. If they give the raw data, then you can look at the raw data and verify their findings. Most of the time, they just go, "Here's our findings." Okay, where's the raw data?
Yeah, not many companies are willing to give out the raw data.
No, that's because when you start analyzing the raw data, there's 5 different things it can say, and they don't want you to know about those other 5 things. It's like the raw data of climate science. And the climate science data that, says that we're in global warming. Yay for global warming. More global warming. Awful cold global warming. Here's a nice piece from Tony Heller about the stuff, and he pulls up stuff. He goes back to the 1800s for newspaper clippings, and pulls out newspaper clippings from the 1800s that they're talking about the same things today. Or if you go into 1970s, they were talking about the same things then. About 10 years apart. Oh, the world's freezing. Oh, the world's melting. Oh, the world's freezing. Oh, the world's heating up. Oh, they've got discussions on no ice being in the Arctic in the 1800s.
Oh, well, we had one of the hottest days on record in the 1800s. It was, we haven't had a day that hot since then.
Yeah. Well, let's see what
Hello,
we got
this
here.
is Tony Heller from. This was Las Vegas, Nevada today, covered in snow.
That was January 26th.
This picture was also taken in Las Vegas a few hours ago.
Holy shit.
This picture was taken in Death Valley, California, shortly after Christmas.
I would say it's
Death
global
Valley
warming.
is the hottest place in the world, having reached 134 degrees Fahrenheit on July 10th.
It doesn't snow in Death Valley usually.
They were also over 130 degrees on 2 other days that same week.
Mm-hmm.
This is a photograph of snow in Malibu, California last weekend.
Malibu.
Santa Barbara, California also had snow.
They got they got a snowplow?
This photograph of deep snow was taken this afternoon, not far from Tucson, Arizona. The mountains east of Taos, New Mexico had about 2 feet of snow in the last 2 days. This is not unusual for...
So okay. Well, I know Tony Heller won't slap me with a copyright thing. He wants his information out as much as he can get it. I mean, he's on the verge of being booted off of YouTube right now anyway. He's already building up because he doesn't drive the party line. In fact, he's gone after the asshole who created the hockey stick thing, which fucked us right up the anal for the last 20 years.
Hockey stick thing?
It's the hockey stick theory of, CO2 was stable across the world over the last couple hundred years, and all of a sudden it spikes straight up, creates a hockey stick, a line across, and a hook like a hockey stick. And it's like it suddenly started spiking straight up a few years ago when CO2 started climbing, and that's why we got global warming. It's like, no. And of course, Tony Heller proves through historical data that we had more CO2 back in the time of the dinosaurs than we have now.
Yes, we did.
Okay? It didn't kill off life. In fact, the vegetation on the earth was overabundance, which is the biggest problem we will have with CO2, is we will have an overabundance of growth on this planet.
Yeah.
It's like, and you talk to someone and say, oh, that's not true. And I say, okay, do you know commercial greenhouses pump CO2 into the greenhouse for the plants?
Oh, you're actually asking me. Yes, I do know that.
Are you like hitting the mute button and disappearing? Because it takes you, like I say something to you and it takes you like 2 or 3 seconds to show up.
No, that time I was just having a drink.
Oh,
I was sipping something, but I thought you were asking a rhetorical question, not actually asking me a question.
No, I was actually asking you a question.
Yes, I do know that.
Oh, okay. This is supposed to be an interactive show and not just me doing a monologue.
You seem pretty monologue-y tonight.
Well, you don't say anything, so I end up monologuing. I just keep going until I hit a break, and you don't jump in and shut me off.
Well, every time that I do jump in, I end up talking over you. So
well, that's what you got to do sometimes. Talk right over me. All right. So at any rate, he does show that we've had warmer, hotter times on this planet to go with the hotter things. And he's also shown with the stats that the Earth has been in a cooling trend for the last 100 years. It has. While we've had warmer days and warmer and hotter summers, certain years, it's on the whole, it's been cooling down.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and like if, again, I'm going to bring up the site Gaia because they have so much scientific evidence for so many things on that site.
Mm-hmm.
They have this one series where they go through and they read the ice cores, and there's these spaces of 100 years or so where it slowly cools and then it rises again. And we seem to be following just that same pattern, one of the shorter patterns right now, rather than the longer pattern. But I think the shorter pattern that we're following is actually interacting with a longer pattern, like like a couple thousand year pattern right now.
Yeah, well, we are in a couple thousand year pattern right now.
And I think it's coinciding with a 100-year pattern as well.
Mm-hmm. Actually, if you go watch Adapt 2030, he actually did a video on just that. How many multi-year events are colliding right now over the next 4 years? Over the next 4 years, many of them are colliding. Many multi-year events.
Apparently I had a good theory then.
From short multi-years to over 1,000 years to 2,400 years to 2,600 years. We have so many cycles going on right now. So many cycles are coming together at once. It's insane.
Oh, I had a good theory.
Yeah,
I'm stoked.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory, and it's it's a good theory to put more study into and prove it. But that's what he's starting to show. He's starting to show. To Adapt 2030, he puts out a lot of research on different things. I do like his research sometimes, and of course he's been going off in the weeds lately with his research on historical buildings and things. So, which I love that stuff too, but it's different than what got me into his channel.
Yeah, well, he's getting back to the other stuff. I watched a couple of his videos today, and he's getting back.
Well, yeah, it'll cycle through. There he is. He's on a cycle too. We're all on cycles. We all are on cycles in life. Everything goes up, everything goes down, everything goes around in a circle. It's a constant reset. So the third video I've got here, next video I've got, and a second video I've got here, global warming stuff. And this is...
Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about science. In this video, I'm going to discuss how climate alarmists have changed the appearance of their strategy over time.
Well, this is good.
The story used to be that capitalism causes carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide causes global warming. Global warming makes people die, so we need to end capitalism. But now they've skipped the middle part. Now we go directly to the gulag. I will explain that in a minute, but first let's cover some history. In 1989, The Guardian and Canberra Times reported this. Governments must yield national sovereignty to multilateral authorities able to enforce laws.
All right, enough of that one. Go watch that one. That's a good one.
I was just getting into it, man.
Yeah.
I'm definitely have to watch it.
See, he goes. This is where he goes into this part of the video here. Let's see if I can find it.
Past 560 million years. At its peak, about 540 million years ago, carbon dioxide levels in the Earth's atmosphere reached about 7,000 parts per million.
Right there.
They've been declining fairly steadily ever since, and are currently near historic lows at 400 parts per million.
So
life on Earth thrived at much...
There's your cycle you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This is the global temperature over the massive years, and we are currently right down at the bottom again of a cycle that occurred 300 million years ago. So there was a part there so that's 300 million to... That was only 50 million years. So somewhere, depending on where we are at this scale here, if we started this the 50 million year mark, we've only got 25 million years before we hit another ice age. But you got to remember, back in the beginning, it was all about the CO2, which dropped right down and stayed lower throughout 3 ice ages. I don't know if they're actually ice. So, lots of interesting things from Tony Heller. I can't remember. Somebody turned me on to him about 6 months ago. I had to really search for him. He wasn't easy to find in YouTube. And after I started watching his stuff, okay, I understand why. I understand why they don't like him so much. They really don't like truth tellers for very long.
Too much truth.
Too much truth. Get you kicked off the air, man. I've seen that in show after show.
Like Lie to Me. I love that show.
Lie to Me. Yeah, that was great. Lie to Me, Dollhouse.
Which, by the way, I found out that the doctor who helped to create Lie to Me, he has a site and he actually teaches the courses that they were talking about in the frickin' show. They're a little expensive, but you can actually take them, which I think is really cool.
Oh yeah, you can learn, or you can just spend time watching people. Which is
another cool thing is all the pictures that were used in that show are actually his real pictures from his real travels. They just photoshopped the actor in there.
Oh, cool. So the guy was actually getting baked in some tribe in the middle of nowhere. Awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, well, you know, the information doesn't come from nowhere. You know, and there's are lots of people studying things all over the place. Okay, let's see. Space weather. What do I got? Oh, that's spaceweather.com. Oh yeah, okay. Supposed to go in there.
Spaceweather.com.
That's where we find out we're on sunspot number 12, February 3rd.
12 of the year or 12 of the month?
12 in a row.
Okay.
That's that's 12 days in a row of spots. So they still had spots last episode. Oh no, did we talk about it last episode?
I don't even remember.
Because if it's been longer than that, then they had a spotless day for at least one day. Because I remember it being around 5 or 6. So it wouldn't. So we've had at least one day in the last 2 weeks where there was no sunspots. So let's see how it goes out the rest of the year. All right. There was something in here. Where is that at?
Talking about the moon base?
No, something I had put. Ah, here it is. A worry about our food supply.
Ah.
I got to jump up to get past the bloody commercial.
That was a terrible noise.
Food?
Yeah. Food wars. Dun, dun, dun.
The administration has taken some steps over the last 48 hours through executive actions that can only really...
Jump here.
And then when he removed them, they went in with guns to get it back. It's completely out of control. Welcome to the Open Fields Project.
Okay, the Open Fields Project. Okay, this is in the States, not here. So for any American listeners, pay attention to this. If you have land, the park and rangers or whatever they're called, the land and management, Tennessee wildlife officials, okay? The U.S. government, state officials, wildlife officials, they placed a trail cam on his property watching what he did with his animals, his farm animals. He discovered the trail cam, took it down, and they sent in a SWAT team to get it back.
Oh, what?
Yeah. They bashed into him stuff. They broke into his house and they broke into his property. Residence was searched by U.S. government, state officials.
For a trail cam.
For a trail cam. Yeah. So this is an interesting video here. Another one from the Ice Age Farmer. This is another guy to follow to find out what's happening there in the crazy weather or crazy solar minimum happening. He talks a lot about the grand solar minimum. He's slipped from that. He's been talking a lot about other things, but he did talk a lot about the grand solar minimum.
Okay, I got to ask, for what reason would they want a trail cam back, do you think?
Well, what they're doing is they're creating more and more new regulations on keeping animals. And if they spy on you and see that you have animals, and you're not reporting them, you can get in trouble. They want to track everything.
Not reporting animals. I thought you had to pay like a fart tax for every animal.
Pretty much.
So you have to report the amount of animals you have.
Yes, that's what I just said. You got to report the animals to the authorities. Report that you have them. Yes, it's a fart tax. It's a breathing tax, which is, what most of us pay is a breathing tax of sorts. You know, so you got to inform them. It's like I don't know the particulars around chickens. Not so much. You don't have to talk about those, especially if it's a small, you know, your own backyard or small farm or whatever. But certain animals you got to tell them. But now they're wanting to find out, and I bet they do make restrictions around them, like they did in England when they blamed the bird flu and started killing everyone's chickens.
I do remember when I lived in New Zealand, I was told not only about the fart tax, but also that for the first year, you didn't have to report your animal when they were like, when they're born, they get 1 year of freedom.
Yeah.
And then you have to report them because apparently when they're babies, they don't fart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's probably changed by now. That was years and years ago.
Maybe.
But
every power you give a government, they rarely ever give up. You have to fight them tooth and nail to get back every power you give a government.
Yep. It's like fighting a hydra.
And they are a hydra, but yeah, they don't give them up without being asked or told. And even then, they'll fight you on it because, you know, they've come to depend on that income for whatever reason. You know, got to pay for the mayor's hooker or, you know, the counselor's blowjob or whatever.
Or whatever it is, yeah.
So that's what we've got there. Let's see what else I got here. I've got a whole lot of links. I'm jumping all over the page now.
Well, I don't have a link for this, but we were chatting earlier today. We were talking about the class war.
Oh,
so
there is no link for it yet. I haven't researched that. That needs to be researched.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, we were talking about, I've noticed a huge difference in, one, the kind of masks that the different classes are wearing. Like, since this whole mask thing has become so normal, I've definitely noticed that there is a much greater divide between the upper and lower class people.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, I was standing at the bus stop because my lovely truck is still in need of being fixed. And I watched this lady who was in her car alone, all her windows rolled up. She had a mask on. And as she drove by me at the bus stop, she literally went into the other lane to avoid going too near us.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the people who act like that tend to be people who have pretty new shiny cars, very nice clothes, their hair looks perfect, gorgeous makeup if they're female. And they have these flowery, positive, I love you and we all love you and we love everyone kind of masks, you know, unicorns puking up rainbow kind of deal. And it's so interesting because half the people that are on the bus, they put their mask on somewhat. They'll have their nose out or, you know, they put it on to walk on the bus and they sit down, they take their mask off. Like people on the bus don't care. Not really. Some people do. But again, it seems to be people who are dressed up, people who look like they could own a car if they so chose.
Yeah, the people who are trying to virtue signal.
Yeah, and it's very interesting noticing the difference in the people who are, what you said, virtue signaling, and the people who are just like, bugger off, I don't care.
Bugger off, don't care. Bring it, baby.
Yeah. And it seems to be mainly white versus blue collar.
Yeah. Oh, it's always been like that. There's actually three classes. There's white, blue collar, and then there's those below the blue collar, the poor.
Yeah, but I mean, I've always noticed the difference. Probably because when I was growing up, you were a mechanic.
Yep, I was pure blue collar. Now I'm sort of a white collar that's still stained blue.
But I've always seen the difference between white and blue collar, and I really noticed the difference when I was going to school for my welding and mechanic certificate. Yeah. And it's always been there, but the divide right now, it's gone from being like 1 foot between the two sides to a gaping chasm that goes thousands of feet down, and don't you dare cross it or the crack might eat you.
Yep.
It's weird to watch the divide there. And then the blue collar people, I'm just going to refer to them as that.
Yep.
My people, they end up, just ignoring everything. They're like, bugger off. I don't care. Yeah. Wear your mask. I don't care. I'm not going to wear mine. You do your thing. I'll do my thing. But then people who are virtue signaling, man, they're freaking out everyone.
Yep.
They're cracked.
Mm-hmm. They're absolutely cracked. And yes, that's what they do. They freak out everyone for no real reason. So as they can.
Then if someone speaks up against anything to them, they end up freaking out about needing to feel safe.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it happens a lot. It's insane. Got to start using their own rules against them so that they suddenly realize, oh, wait a minute, we don't want to do this.
I actually, that reminded me of an email I got.
Mm-hmm.
It was an email from, for some reason, I still get the middle school emails from the public school that my girls went to last year.
Yeah.
And I got an email from them about a girl who goes to that school who some fella asked her how her day was. And like, he talked to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she ran straight home. And now he is got a warning against him.
Yeah.
And it literally the complaint was that he looked at her too hard.
The problem is he's male.
Yeah.
If a woman had done that, they wouldn't have thought twice about it.
But it's weird because like this girl went straight home, talked to her parents, they called the police. Now there's a warning against this guy, and he is barred from all areas near schools. And it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. What happens if he happened to live by that school? Is he not allowed to go home anymore?
I don't know. That is a good question.
Seriously.
Like,
I mean, if he's saying hi to a kid walking by the street, was the guy walking around the block? He couldn't have lived too far from that school.
I think it was like at a bus stop or something.
Oh, well, even at a bus stop.
At a bus stop by the school.
That would be make me freaking out over what my boys told me when they come home, when they go home to school. Yeah, there's some guy at the bus stop. He was just insane. He was ranting and raving about this. And then he gave us these cool stickers. And I looked at one. It was InfoWars. I just started laughing. It's like, seriously. It's like, okay, it's one of the die-hard Jones's fans. You know?
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name now. But Alex Jones from InfoWars is one of his diehard fans, the one that believes everything he says, including, I wish I had the frog. They're making the frogs gay one. I gotta grab that one. That one's always available.
You know what's really funny though is a lot of the craziness that Alex Jones has spouted has actually come to pass.
Oh, I know. It's just insane.
I think conspiracy theorists are just the modern day oracles, honestly.
Well, sometimes. Hang on a sec. Let's see if I can find this.
Are you searching their site?
No, I'm just here.
If you're a new listener, just type in Pentagon rack. Consider using it. They'd spray PC. You think PC hack your brain permanently? They give the troops already re-engineer their brain. The gay bomb. You think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Okay, I'm gonna have to just cut this one up. This is an actual YouTube video. I'm gonna have to grab it. I'm gonna have to turn on that. I'm gonna turn on that thing on my thing. All right, I'm gonna grab the
tap
link.
water is a gay bomb. I love it.
Yeah, it's all the fluoride.
Well, fluoride isn't healthy at the levels we have it.
No. I was looking for just the short clip and I didn't find it. But man, if you hunt making the frogs gay, there's a really lot of strange stuff.
I am not surprised.
Yeah, well.
Oh, thinking of frogs, did you catch the news article about how Pepe the Frog is considered a hate symbol?
Oh, he's been considered a hate symbol since he became a meme in 2016.
Oh, no. He is considered a white power anti-Semitic hate symbol now.
I bet that can be traced right back to 4chan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Most of the memes can be traced back to 4chan. But what happened with this particular article, the M5M was screaming about Pepe the Frog because somebody had painted Pepe's face onto a mural of the president.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, what's funny is I don't mean not all memes originate there. Some originate elsewhere. But
pretty much all memes.
But what does originate at 4chan is taking an innocent symbol and getting the left to hate it and turned it into a hate symbol.
Like the unicorn puking rainbow.
And like the OK symbol.
Yeah.
And like, I can't remember. There was like 5 or 6 of them that they did. And they managed to get it turned into, it was something innocent that's been used for decades, as a certain way. And all of a sudden it's hate. And it's like, and then when it's traced back, it started in a fucking 4chan channel.
I love 4chan.
Mm-hmm.
Not somewhere I actually want to hang out, but man, I do admire those idiots.
I do admire those idiots. They're the same idiots over at Reddit, and I actually have to start using more Reddit.
I tried using Reddit. I got sick of it pretty fast, though.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I still use it, but that's where I'm following. I'm learning a bit more information, and I never thought to go there for learning about stock market, and there's lots of different forums in there for stock market advice, information, how things work.
Maybe I'll resurrect my Reddit account and go take a read, because if nothing else, people who explain things on Reddit, you can find one of the explanations that fits your brain, because there's so many different varieties on there.
Yep. Okay, here's the 15-second clip. This should be it.
You think I am like, shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
I've got to grab that clip.
I didn't realize there's so much to it.
I've never heard the full version. All I've ever heard is the little short version on No Agenda.
Yeah, I like it.
That's actually funny. Yeah, it's funnier when it's complete. Yeah, I'm gonna have to download that.
I like Alex Jones, but man, I cannot handle watching more than 10 minutes of his show.
Yeah, well, what's funny is since the inauguration, he's been calmer. I've actually been able to listen to him for more than, as you said, 10 minutes.
I wonder if it's just that he's got better weed now.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's got better weed. But yeah, it's just like some of the stuff is interesting, and some of it you really got to stretch to believe. But he has brought several conspiracy theories to bear and proved that they were not conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, it's actually quite amazing how many of the conspiracy theories. I follow conspiracy theories for most of my life, mostly because I like them.
They're fun. Sometimes they're interesting.
I didn't actually expect any of them to really come true, though.
Yeah.
And over the past 5 years, I've just been watching as I start ticking off my mental boxes of, yeah, that one is true. That one is true. Oh my God, that one is true. Yep, that one's true.
Just think if somebody had started a list somewhere and started marking off how many of them came true over the last 20 years.
Well, there's something for me to work on. Get a list together and put a checkbox next to the ones that have actually come to pass over the past 5 years.
Yeah, there you go. And then list up the ones that are still yet to be fulfilled.
Yeah. There we go. That's something I can work on for next show.
That'll be entertaining. Oh, I have started digging into financial news.
Oh?
I'm trying to get Canadian financial news and regular Canadian news, what's happening in Canada, but I do have one thing. Here it is. This is a really fun article. Let's lighten things up. There was once a time in the United States where you could ship your kid via the U.S. Postal Service.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That is so funny.
If they weighed less than 10 pounds or 11 or 12 pounds, I think it was, you could pack them in a box and ship them. And kids were shipped. But of course, they weren't shipped more than a couple of miles. Basically, what it turned out was if you shipped them via the U.S. Postal Service, it was cheaper than buying a train ticket.
Huh. That is really entertaining. No wonder kids have always thought about shipping their siblings.
Yeah, well, it did happen. Yeah.
I think my older one actually did put the younger one in a box once.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite part from it. Okay, just a few weeks after Parcel Post began in Ohio, an Ohio couple, Jesse and Matilda, mailed their 8-month-old son James to his grandmother, who lived just a few miles away in Batavia. According to Lynch, baby James was just shy of the 11-pound weight limit for packages sent via Parcel Post, and his delivery cost his parents only 15 cents in postage, although they did insure him for $50. That's my favorite part. They insured him for $50.
Huh.
So that's just one of the stories. They've got several stories in here of people that ship their kids. You know, the most famous one was mailing. It actually created a book. What was that one at? It must be.
I will be right back, okay?
Yeah, okay. Actually, I'm going to kick on some music for us, and I'll be back in a moment, too.
All right.
Music time. What do we got? Let's do this one.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, well, move it right along. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger just seen who done the crime. The captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is it yours or is it mine?
Most definitely mine. Nice harmonic work there.
As I don't usually like harmonics, but this is good.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. fine. Just in doing time.
I still like that song.
It's a good song, although you're gonna have to find some different music.
Why? Oh, I need to add. I keep
Because-
forgetting to add some new songs to the mix here. You know,
Ah,
I got to change them. I got to change out some of the other junk in there. I mean, I do play.
you
the
need a
other-
better soundboard.
Yeah, well, I need a bigger one. I need another swipe on it so I can have 2 boards, and I can put maybe even 3, 4. So I can put music on this board, music and this on that, sound clips here, this show there, that show there. I got 2. We got 2 shows now, so.
Really
All right.
great if I could have access to the sound buttons. I would have so much fun poking those buttons.
You just sort of sit there and go, "Ooh, this one looks interesting."
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing!
Amen.
Exactly. Fun like that.
Adios, mofo.
Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
Okay,
Done poking?
done poking for the moment. All right, so. Oh, here's another one. This is a really interesting article now while we're on the fun and crazy. This one here is kind of insane. You know, take it for whatever it's worth, but some dude on here claims he accidentally started a cult by screwing with psychology online, and he created a message board, created a whole new crazy conspiracy theory that didn't exist. He just invented it, but people found reasons for it to exist. It's something about why are all the stray cats missing, and he created like the elite are using them to suck their blood and all that. And what happened was it's a really good article, and it's like, and he gets to the end and he's like, I need to tell these folks it's all bullshit. He goes in and tells them it's bullshit, but one of his most ardent people that were helping him with this stuff, according to his writing here, this is where it started to go off the rails. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe. But the person managed to hack his account of the message board and boot him out of his own message board and took over his message board.
I could see that happening, honestly.
I could see it happening, but it's like, okay. But it was like, and he's like, he tried to tell, and they're like, oh no. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm talking to him right now. That was obviously his account was hacked. So boom, it was like so insane.
That's awesome, though.
And the thing is, so from a psychological point of view, exactly everything he did in the beginning to create the cult is exactly how they're created. And it's just a hilarious little article. I really liked it.
It reminds me of the spaghetti monster.
Yes, the spaghetti. I remember when that was a joke. I remember when the guy came out with it first, because it happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And he done it as a joke because he was fighting with it's a professor at university did this. And he was fighting about religions at the university. And he said, well, for all that matter, I could believe in the flying spaghetti monster. I'll tell you what, that's what I'll do. And he created, and it's now becoming a religion.
Yes, it is. Actually, it was something about he was proving that you only need a certain amount of number of followers in order to make it into a religion. Mm-hmm. And so he went to see if he could get that many people. And he ended up with like 3 times the amount of people he initially needed to make it into a religion. And it just spiraled out of control, completely lost any control he once had over it.
It's gone now, man. It's gone. It's out of his hands. Hey, I think he even wrote a book for it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really quite funny, but that's basically what this guy was describing is the same sort of thing. It's like all you got to do is be charismatic, get an idea that's crazy, insane enough, and people want to believe it for some strange reason.
Like the spaghetti monster.
Yes. Just like the COVID virus. So it's all good.
I think the reason why I love the flying spaghetti monster so much is because I watched it being created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it being created. Hey, maybe that's the new religion that's going to replace the old one.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right, this one here, I've got to go check out more stuff. This is from the Reddit. It's called Am I the Asshole Column, or the Am I the Asshole Forum. And it's got a lot of interesting things on here. But in particular, it's one in here about this one guy asking, am I the asshole? He went on a trip, was going to pay his friend to watch his dog, but his friend was a vegan, so she threw out all his dog food and threw out all the meat in his house. And because obviously the meat was bad for dogs, because dogs shouldn't eat meat. But and then he freaked out, flipped out at her, booted her out, and then he refused to pay her for dog sitting, which I don't blame him. Although technically he should go, okay, well, fine, I'll pay you after I deduct all that steak you threw out, the lobster you threw out, and my dog food.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's the asshole there.
No, he's definitely not the asshole. Definitely not the asshole. So yeah. At any rate, I thought, oh, there's an Am I Asshole column. Okay, I'm going to have to read this. And there's actually quite a few things in there once you can get to the actual column.
Are you becoming a Reddit fan?
No, well, actually, I used to be. I forgot I even had an account on Reddit. It turns out my account's turning 11 years old or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's like, really? I don't remember creating this. Okay, I created it, saved the password. Good enough. I'm good to go. Yeah, it's like I've had a Reddit account for years.
Yes, but are you becoming a fan now?
Oh no, I'm never a fan. There's places in here that have got useful information though. I'm not a fan of Reddit. Reddit's a dick. They sold out to China.
Hasn't most of the stuff that exists in the world sold out to China now?
Most of it. China probably technically owns most of the world.
Yes, they definitely played a long game there.
Uh-huh. So
they will have power.
They're threatening to use it right now. I mean, as Beijing Biden signs a whole bunch of things to make it even easier for them, and China's threatened Taiwan recently, and Beijing Biden is going to be has invaded Syria again. He sent troops back into Syria after Trump pulled them out a couple of years ago.
About that, do we even have a reason for why he did that, or he just sent them?
I hadn't caught all the news on that one yet. That news has been buried by the oh my god, distraction of the week. The GME thing. The stock market thing, which is dominating news. And under the cover of all that shit, Biden sent the troops back into Syria, and there was one small mention of it, and even the alt media has only touched it a couple of times. Huh. They've been sucked up with the distraction of the week. I think we're going back into that. It occurred to me when he was talking about distraction of the week and something on the No Agenda show, is that it occurred to me that we haven't heard from the 6-week cycle in over a year.
You're right.
It just dawned on me. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, well, I haven't seen the 6-week cycle. Because you got the FBI investigating some guy in Florida for making a meme. It's like, wait a minute. What the hell is the FBI doing again? Oh, it's like, wow, I haven't heard the 6-week cycle. Oh, shit. They've got to find ways to start justifying their budget pretty quick. It's coming up on budget time. It's coming up on budget time. They got to justify the same thing we got in Canada. Although Canada right now, I'm still not certain about them. Let's jump into Canadian news at that here.
I was just going to say, I noticed you have a bit of Canadian news there. I don't really have much aside from the friggin' COVID housing.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to find anything on Canadian news that's not in the mainstream media. And I don't want our mainstream media here. It's like I could bring in Rebel News, but they don't give you links or anything, and I have to hunt it all down. So if I start doing that, there's no point in bringing their shit in.
Yeah, only Rebel News really gives you news. I mean, I've got a couple of YouTubers that I follow and a couple of BitChute people. And they're Canadians, and they talk about things that are going on, but they don't have much information either. It's like we're our own version of...
Yeah, we have to start... Go ahead.
I can't remember the name of the country that nobody can get into.
China? No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's got the, Xi Jinping or something.
China.
It is China?
Xi Jinping?
I think
Xi Jinping,
so.
the guy that looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that guy. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
so
Yeah, the Winnie the Pooh's been banned in China because he looks too
why
much.
does my brain say it's not China?
I don't know, but if it's Xi Jinping, you must be Korea, South Korea.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
okay.
South Korea, where you can't even bring your cameras in
No.
unless it's been very approved. And yeah, it's Korea that I'm thinking of.
South Korea, yeah.
And that guy does totally look like Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, the guy from China does. That's why he banned it. Winnie the Pooh is banned in China, which China owns Disney now too, so it's all good. All right, so one of the things, and this is what I need to bring up. Not that we got a large enough audience to make a difference at the moment, but you may be able to talk to other people. Is Bill C-10 in front of Parliament right now, and nationwide in Canada, it's going to censor the internet, and it's going to, in particular, they've had information about it over at the Rebel, and it's going to censor. They're going to create a whole new organizations for censoring the internet, and they're doing this under the guise of we got to protect you from internet police and bad words and hate speech.
How do they plan on censoring internet?
I have no idea yet, but if they catch you, you do something, you say something online, they'll send a goon squad out to give you tickets or take you to jail.
Oh well, we're fucked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would be totally screwed as it is. Say too much, and they're going to come after you. And what they supposedly is to protect you. Oh, somebody said something bad about you on Facebook. Well, we can get them to take it down faster, but they're going to use it for censorship. There's a government has never created a law and then misused that law or misapplied that law. Never, ever, ever.
Dang. No, that's never happened, not in once in entire history.
No, governments are always so good about taking the best interests of their people at heart.
I forgot to send you that picture. A picture of it's one of those sticker posters that's been stuck up on lampposts around my area.
Yeah.
It's essentially a hand holding a flag and saying "Vote for me." But it reminds me a lot of the early posters that were used by Hitler himself in the early days of him.
You got Chinese communists did that too.
Yeah, it's the hand holding the flag. It's stuck in my head as that equals bad, but it's being used everywhere for all kinds of build back better things.
Oh yeah, well that's the big thing. We got to build back better.
For someone else.
Yeah. Thought I grabbed that one. No, I didn't. Damn it.
So back to Bill C-10.
Back to Bill C-10. Okay, Bill C-10 is going to censor us in multiple ways. I'm still wrapping my head around it, and it's one that we got to, as Canadians, we need to make noise somehow. Reach out to your MP, tell them it's a bad idea. It's not going to protect anyone. There's been a lot of analysis on it. And here we go. What's this one here? Amendment to the Broadcast Act. This is the act itself. It's make consequential amendments, explanatory note, charter considerations. See, it's got charter considerations, and this is a thing that they put together talking about those charter considerations and what this bill is.
Charter considerations. What does that mean?
Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Yeah, I know what the Canadian Charter is, but what does it mean, charter considerations?
They're creating rules that might violate the charter.
Ah, okay.
So here it is. It's power grab. This is from Open Media. Open Media, I've discovered, has some decent Canadian stuff, and they're not mainstream media.
Okay.
And this one here, this is a letter they want you to send out to your minister. Or to the Honorable Stephen, blah, 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 the people of this committee. It's not your minister. So, and this is...
I agree.
And there's a lot...
Internet shouldn't be like cable. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things they're trying to do. They're trying to make it like cable.
Yeah.
Like cable networks. And it's just going to create problems. And we're going to have problems on it. And we need to start... doing something as Canadians, or we're going to be locked in our homes with censored internet. So you won't only be in your home, you won't be able to think anymore. Well, you can
The
think.
way
I
to
suppose.
censor the internet is to shut it down.
Well, see, that's the thing is they think they can censor it, but they can to some extent. They can close it down by about 90%, but if you're halfway technically inclined, it'll take you half a day to a day to set up a laptop computer with Linux that will bypass all internet problems and connect you directly to the internet. Your biggest problem is going to be a cable connection to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you can steal those everywhere now with a Wi-Fi.
Yep.
You don't have to pay for your own. All you need to do is get within a Wi-Fi. Until they started upgrading the routers a couple of years ago, you could steal it from all your neighbors. But most of your neighbors, you could easily hack into them because they never change it from the default password. Which is because they don't know anything about their router. It's like they don't realize they'll bring their router home, they'll plug it in, turn it on, and they don't realize there's a web page you can access on your browser to change its password and change the names of your network and basically lock it down, because the default password, any router I can get into, and if I can get on their network, I can get in their router. And once I get into it, I can change everything. And then getting on networks just takes some hacking time. It's not that hard if you get technically inclined. But at any rate, back to it. You can build a Linux system and you can bypass everything on the internet. Everything is bypassable. That's the way the internet was made. It was created specifically that way by the U.S. government. It was created in the event of nuclear war.
Yep. This is so interesting watching. It's like trying to play whack-a-mole. Every time they get one, another two pop up.
Oh, I know. And right now we've got a government that is one half of a step shy of becoming a dictatorship. Even though our prime idiot in office there, our prime minister, has already said, where's his quote? Let me get his quote up.
Well, he's definitely working hard to reach the kids. He spends time every week on PBS Kids and talks to the kids on all these kids shows that people still let their kids watch. And
yeah, here it is. Here's his quote. "I admire China's basic dictatorship. It gets things done.
Mm-hmm.
There is no core identity, no mainstream in Canada. These qualities are what make us the first post-national state." That's Trudeau in 2015.
What does post-national mean?
It means we're no longer nationalists. We're no longer Canadians.
Ah.
Now we're just world citizens. He's got.
I can't remember, someone famous. I think Galileo might have said, "I'm a citizen of the world."
Yeah. I don't know, but see, it's like he is, and he's also the spit and image of Fidel Castro.
Yes, he is, especially with that beard he's grown.
Oh yeah. And it's like, and it was known that his mother was spending time down there around the time he was conceived. So.
Yeah, there's all kinds of pictures of them flirting and stuff.
So, and Fidel Castro was a notorious womanizer, and she was a notorious slut. So.
Our country is so funny sometimes.
Oh, well, we've got a mess. We've got a mess up here in Scandinavia.
We do, and yet it seems like right now the blue colors still kind of outweigh the white colors. I'm not sure though.
You need a shitload more blue collars in Canada than you do anywhere else.
That's true.
It's too.
You got to have a special kind of brain to want to live out here.
You've got to like the hardships, man. Plus, with the weather and everything else, you need a lot more people doing more outdoorsy work.
Mm-hmm.
To provide everything. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm thinking.
Oh, suddenly I heard a clip and it went really super quiet, like I'd lost your connection.
I'm not sure what the click was, but my headset is fantastic. If I stop talking, it just goes silent.
Oh, well, that's
which
good.
is great, but also kind of irritating.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a useful thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, we've got some other. What else do I got? That's all the Canadian news I got. Is this petition, the charter thing? I've been digging and digging. Canadian news is really hard. I was able to find some Canadian financial news, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, what's the Canadian financial news?
This one here.
Alaska Highway?
No, it's funny. Canadian financial news came from Alaska, from an Alaskan newspaper.
Wow.
And it's basically talking about Statistics Canada releases labor force statistics for January on Friday. They reported the economy lost 63,000 jobs in December.
Oh.
So BCE earnings released its fourth quarter results. Resolute Forest will release fourth quarter results. So it's just little tidbits of information. But it led me down the path of signing up for other things. So hopefully I will start to see more of this information come flowing into my mailbox.
Wait, reusable 4-layer face mask with 2 free filters.
Wait a second. Did I just miss something really cool? Was it
It's
an ad?
it's an ad.
Oh,
It's an ad on the page. So it's like,
oh, it's probably gone
that's
now
just
then.
funny. But the loss of so many jobs is just wow. The pipeline that Biden shut down, that affected Canada too.
Yeah.
In a major way.
Yeah.
And I know that I heard about Trudeau wanting to take the wood that we sell to the US and he's looking to sell it to China instead.
No, I wouldn't
Fully
doubt
and
that.
completely.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, but if he does that, it's going to screw us 10 ways to Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not cool. And I know there's a lot more going on, but finding the information in Canada, it's like finding information in South Korea.
Yeah, it's sometimes
it's really hard.
You got to remember the mainstream media is owned by the Liberal Party right now. Okay?
Yeah.
Because the mainstream media in Canada only exists because the Liberal Party's been giving them millions of dollars a year. The CBC was already owned by the government. They're the government broadcasting system. The CBC always has been a government broadcasting system. So
why do we not have more media things like Rebel News?
Because
why do you think that is?
There's a few that got started, but they got crushed because Rebel News, part of what makes Rebel News is Ezra Levant, who had money when he started that thing. And he'd partnered with somebody and that partner pulled out. You go back in Rebel News. I've been following Rebel News off and on since they came into existence about 5 or 6 years ago. They haven't been around They haven't been around all that long. They might have been around a little longer, but not really. And he started out with some really young, fresh out of college reporters. Many of them have gone on to do their own thing. It's like I can't think of what's her name. There's one that it's the chick who now lives down in Australia for some silly reason. Well, she is Canadian. She's the girl who went and got her sex legally changed on her driver's license to male. So she actually became a man without becoming a man. She did it to prove a point on the lunacy of a system.
It is a rather lunatic system.
But anyway, you got her. He started with her. She moved on to other things, being young and crazy. Even some of his other young and crazy reporters ended up with doing other things because they were still young and crazy. A lot of Rebel News started about the time Tim Pool started. So it might have been right around this time of Wall Street.
But why do you think we don't have any other channels like that? Like even just people who are reporting news themselves.
Money. Although we do have a few that are reporting news themselves, and one guy was on YouTube until they booted him off it. The True North is still there, but barely.
Yeah.
There was about 4 of them, and I used to follow them, but a couple of them have been booted off YouTube. They were telling too much truth.
Yeah.
And
well, now we've got places like BitChute, so hopefully they'll pop up again.
Yeah, I can't remember their names though, and that's the problem. They disappear from the prime. You disappear from YouTube if you've got a big audience. You're lucky if 1/10 of your audience will follow you initially, because the reason people use YouTube is its simplicity.
Fun fact about YouTube: if you're booted off and you no longer have your channel, the people who had you in their list you'll still be in their list.
Yes, I know that.
It's an interesting thing. I didn't realize that because I figured once your account is deleted, it should be deleted.
Yeah.
But it turns out that you still get to have the people in your list, and you could just go there and you get nothing.
Mhm.
It says this information cannot be found. But I found that very interesting. It's some kind of little glitch or something.
No, do you know why?
Why?
Because they don't delete anything. They've proved that. They proved that a couple of times, indirectly by deleting somebody's channel, booting them off, cutting them out. Your account's been canceled, and then when they fight YouTube and YouTube has to restore it, all their stuff is magically there.
Okay.
Okay, they do like I do when I need to close off a directory. I change the directory's name, or YouTube goes into their database, goes, okay, the URL to all this shit is this, change it to this, and poof, it magically is gone.
They just break the link. Okay.
They break the link to all the data, and they can restore that link to all the data anytime they want.
Yeah, it does make sense. Okay.
So yeah, and that's the way it works. But so we were talking about
the lack of information in Canada.
Yes, lack of information, and we're talking about the multiple sites. The multiple there are places. There's a couple of podcasts, Canadian podcasts, focusing on it, but there's no central database of the information. If I had the time, I would fucking start creating one.
Well, maybe I should reach out to Rebel News and be like, "Yo, we need more information. Can you get one of your people to search this out?"
Yeah, you could do it.
They probably got an intern.
They got an intern, but he does things that's going to benefit his company.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to benefit his company all that much by pointing out all his competition.
Not so much the pointing out his competition, but being able to offer up a link to other news to verify and everything like that. That could actually help.
Yeah, well, it could.
And also, it's not necessarily competition, since they're the only reporters who are actually speaking the truth. They can work together.
Yeah, well, that would be it. So he may want the competition, I don't know. Reach out to him. Let him know. Say, hey, we need a central list. None of us have the time. So yeah.
I finally got the fruit fly that's been flying around my face. I win.
Good job.
Oh,
So yeah,
no, it landed in my drink.
hopefully we can get more Canadian stuff in here. I'm going to work on it, and as I'm going for stuff, I'm trying to find Canadian. And the problem is all Canada, all the Canadian mainstream media wants to talk about is the United States.
I know.
It's like we don't care. It's kind of like my kids learning U.S. history and stuff, and learning the U.S. political system. It's like, they really need to know how the Canadian system works.
Wait, they're learning U.S. history and politicalness?
Yeah, and sometimes they come down from school and they're telling me shit's like, I barely learned that myself in like 8th grade.
Wow.
It's like, why are you guys learning that? You should be learning about Canadian history. And it's like, I can't remember a specific thing right now, but they come back knowing stuff that I learned when I grew up in the States, and I went to American schools, so I had to learn it. But it's like they're learning that. It's like, why are you learning that? It's not like you're going, unless they're planning to, sell Canada to the United States, which in some aspects it would suck big time, but in other aspects, like, hey, guns, awesome. We'd no longer be subject to any laws or regulations. Second Amendment, here we come.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did get sold to the U.S.
Oh, but I thought China had dibs on us.
Well, does China actually want us, though? We're kind of a no wasteland.
Oh, I don't know. There's a wonderful conspiracy theory out there that China has eaten everything, and the reason they're buying other countries is because they need food. They've eaten all their rats. They've eaten all their bats. They've eaten all their insects. They've eaten everything. They've eaten everything. This conspiracy theory even goes so much as to say that they eat their children. That's why they only had one. It's like, okay, now you're going a little too far, guys. But, I liked it in the beginning. But when you hit this point here, I think you're reaching. But at any rate, it's a really fascinating conspiracy theory.
They do have a very, very high population rate. So I could see cannibalism becoming a thing. Yeah, but some of their leaders are crazy enough.
Literally running out of food. With 3 billion people, it's theoretically possible, but it is a pretty damn big country.
It is. It is a very big country.
Granted, this next couple of years, it sounds like it's possible, considering how much crops they lost this year. It
yeah,
is.
but Canada and US has sold them all of our backup stock, so
I
it
know.
should be fine.
Yes, I know. We've been shipping all kinds of shit from Canada. That's the other thing I'm trying to dig up is what, when I listen to the Ice Age farmer, he's always talking about the American stocks and American stockpiles of food. I want to find out about the Canadian stockpile.
The only thing that I've heard about that was through Rebel News, and it was they got this information in one of their Freedom of Information Act things, and it was information about how our storage was being sold to China. It was the food reserve of Canada, and then the sale list, like the billing list.
Okay, I must have missed that. I'd like to see that report.
I read it a while ago, months ago, I think.
But see, the fact that we're selling our stuff to China and everything else, it means we're setting ourselves up for food shortages as a country, which is another good reason why.
Yeah.
Go back to where we started the show. Seeds, folks. You need your seeds. You got to grow your crops. Gonna have to feed yourself and your own family. And maybe if you do good enough, you feed some of the neighbors, and the neighbors who makes booze, he'll give you some booze. So you won't ever have to pay for it again. You give him some food, he gives you some booze, everybody's happy.
Another thing that Canadians need to think about is learning to hunt.
Yes. I've I started working on those skills again this last year. I came really close to fulfilling those skills this year. I was rather bummed about that.
Yeah, learning to hunt, that's going to help a lot too, because I don't know why, but Canada seems really gung-ho about this whole bug thing.
Yeah.
And the nutrition that we can absorb from bugs will sustain us, but it won't give us what we actually need.
No.
We need meat.
Oh, yeah. We need meat or something as equivalent to meat, But there's certain minerals that are only available in meat.
Well, one of the most basic things is women especially need to eat red meat at least once a month.
They need the iron, the blood.
Yeah.
Bloody steaks, the bloodier the better.
Yeah, we need that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of like what we can't figure out how to make spider silk exactly, because there's something going on inside of a spider that we can't see, some chemical compound exchange.
Yeah.
I think that what it is about meat is the same kind of thing. We can't actually see what's going on inside of our body because we absorb a lot more nutrients from meat than we do from anything else. Yeah. We can be sustained, but we can't actually be healthy.
But you can't have a pure meat diet for too long a period of time either.
No, because that will also damage you.
Yep. You start having trouble keeping muscle on. We gotta have the combination of meat and grains.
Yep.
Meat and other foliage, grains and other foliage.
Although you can live off fish and rice for years and you'll be fine.
Well, yeah, but think about it. What did you just eat?
Well, fish doesn't have the same kind of chemical compounds and stuff as red meat.
It's still similar.
That's true. It's similar.
It's the same.
It's so different.
Similar nutrients. It's like you can live off of beef and rice for years too and never touch fish. It's the meat. Fish are meat. They just provide different levels of nutrition. They will still. I bet if you dig into it, fish still have iron in it because they got blood too.
I thought vegetarians taught the world that fish are not meat.
That's not your real vegetarian. That's your vegetarian that says, okay, I can eat my fish and shellfish and my milk. No, a true vegetarian, any type of meat they stay away from. And yes,
that's a vegan.
That's okay. That's a vegan. Sorry, but
vegans don't touch milk or cheese or anything like that.
Yeah, vegetarians. Then you're right. Vegetarians, they're on multiple levels. Some are extreme where no meat whatsoever. Some are like, oh, fish is okay. Some are like eggs are okay and milk's okay, but no fish or beef. It's like they're varied levels of what type of vegetarian they are. I have met one vegetarian that was really a cool guy. He was really the only vegetarian I ever liked. Unfortunately, you knew him too, but you won't remember him because he died when you were 3. His house burned down behind us.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, when we lived there in North County, San Diego.
Oh, the house I remember when I smelled oranges.
The orange plantation. We lived on I guess it was about a half an acre, and it was full of orange trees, orange, lemon, walnut, persimmons. And there was a guy that had the property next to us, just over from us. His house is pretty close. I got to chatting with him, went over to his house one time. Fucker, you want to see somebody who was a hoarder? Man, he put hoarders to shame. I walked in there, and it's like literally paths of stacked papers and other things through the house. It was neat, though. It was really neat and clean. It was a clean hoarder. He didn't keep his trash. He just kept all his newspapers and stuff, and it was stacked high. Well, what happened was he had an extension cord running under one, and it shorted out. And he was sleeping, and he was an old man. He was in his 80s, so he was a really neat guy. But I learned a lot about growing persimmons. Oh, fuck me. I had the word right the first time I said it.
Yes, you did. Persimmons.
Persimmons, thank you. And anyway, he bred persimmons. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Anyway, he bred that really sweet, tasty fruit. It was really quite good stuff, and he was a really interesting fellow. But he grew all his own food. So
Ivy was in the grocery store and she saw a persimmon. I've never actually had one, at least not to my recollection.
They're like, yeah, go ahead.
And Ivy saw it and she's like, I want this. Mm-hmm. And this older lady walked over and she's like, do you know what that is? And she's like, no, but it smells good. Mm. So the lady sat there and gave her a nice, long, in-depth lecture on how you find the ripe one. If you get a not ripe one, how you ripen it, how you can tell they're ripe, and all this stuff. And Ivy came home and she was like bouncing with excitement. She told me everything.
Oh, of course.
So I know a lot about how to ripen persimmons and what they look like and all that stuff now. And I love it when people share their knowledge like that, just randomly.
Yeah, they're best fresh off the tree, but to me they're like a super sweet overripe peach.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it tasted like to me too. Mm-hmm. I don't like peaches.
But they come in multiple flavors.
Yeah, I remember hearing that too.
Multiple breeds of them. And this guy that behind us, he had like 9 or 10 different varieties growing on his property.
Oh, wow.
And he was always giving us persimmons. So, yeah,
cool.
You ate them and you liked them.
So I have had them. I just don't remember.
No, you wouldn't remember. You're only 3 years old.
I remember the house every time I smell oranges.
Well, that's because that is a deeply embedded memory through smell. Because it was constantly smelled like oranges there. Because the oranges are always in bloom.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
In Southern California, oranges were always in bloom, man. They were always, the trees were constantly full of fresh oranges and tangerines and grapefruits and lemons, and I don't think there were any limes, just lemons. But the 9 or 10 months we were there, we had constant supply of fresh citrus. Actually, they're longer than that because I created a garden there.
Oh, cool.
I
heard that there's a theory floating around that because way back when, like thousands of years ago, where the desert used to be more like an oasis. Like it had water and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that our world, because it's shifting so much and it's going to get caught in all kinds of different changes out in space as well. Mm-hmm. I've heard that it's going to shift back to the way it was a long time ago, where the places that are covered in snow are going to become tropical and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it'll happen.
So you think so?
Oh, yeah. It's already happening right now. Not that particular scenario, but another scenario is happening right now of a major change in the world, a major climatic change that they're not talking about. Northern Africa,
the sinkholes and
it's to do with North Africa.
Okay. Do explain.
North Africa is where the Sahara Desert's at, and above the Sahara Desert is another desert, and it's all desert right now. Mm-hmm. But you go back 2,000 years or more, especially along. It covers the area up near Israel, Egypt, and other places up around there, and in the Sudan somewhere.
Yeah.
But you go back a few thousand years, those were green areas and forested.
Mm-hmm.
And then the global climate changed. Basically what changed was our jet streams, which are changing right now. and it changes when the monsoons land and where the monsoons land.
Mm-hmm.
And it determines what area gets dry and what area gets water, because those deserts, the only thing that prevents them from growing stuff is water.
Yeah, didn't they have like major floods this year?
Yes, some of those areas are flooding and filling up. You need to go check out ADAPT 2030 from about 2 or 3 months ago. He had a whole series of videos about what's happening in that area with the weather changes and the fact that they're flooding, and the lakes, great humongous lakes that existed a few thousand years ago, that as the water dried up, it just went underground and disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And those lakes are starting to fill up again.
Interesting.
And what they've also found is when they started searching around the edges of those lakes, there were major cities. Major cities existed, which went extinct, disappeared. The earth swallowed them up, and we forgot about them. As I tell them, we got nothing on Mother Nature. Mother Nature really doesn't care. As far as she's concerned, we haven't even registered in her brain yet. As far as time concerns, it would be like a millisecond of how much time humanity's existence compared to the rest of the world.
You know what historians, like the mainstream historians, really hate? When people point out the water damage on the Sphinx.
Yes, I know. They don't want people to know that the pyramids and the Sphinx are not 5,000 to 10,000 years old, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 to 50,000 years old.
Although the Sphinx is much older than the pyramids.
Yes, it's definitely older.
And something else that was recently figured out, at least recently, I learned this.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a place like a box shape underneath of the Sphinx and a path leading down to it,
mm-hmm.
which I found that very interesting. The theory is that there's a whole bunch of stored information, a bunch of historical documentation that was stored underneath the Sphinx.
Probably. I mean, humanity's tried to save its information every time it's been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the theories is that the crystal skulls from South America contain crystallized data.
Yeah.
For us to use.
Same thing with the diamond and the scepters in all the major religions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the history exists, and it's constantly being shoved away from us. We got tons of history that prove lots of things, but they keep hiding it because it doesn't fit whatever the current narrative happens to be. You know,
like humans walking with dinosaurs.
Like giants walking the earth. You know,
mm-hmm.
men that were 13 feet plus tall. You know, so. But that information's been destroyed. I mean, the Smithsonian destroyed every giant skeleton that was delivered to them in the 1800s. And most of the reason we only know they exist is because of newspapers and photography of the time. You know, that's the only reason we still know they exist for most of them. You know, because they've found a few others, and they were said to be frauds for a while until it was discovered through a Freedom of Information Act that the Smithsonian had destroyed all that information. Destroying history. The museum that was created to preserve history, destroying history because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative of where humans came from, how we came into existence. You know, and we've got lots of things in our societies that's unexplainable. You know, the finding of tools and machinery that are carbon dated to 10,000 years ago that are the same types of tools and machinery we're using now.
Yep.
You know, it's like, but it doesn't fit the narrative. So it's called a fake, or the archaeologist who discovered it, they drum him out of the business and trash his name. And
What's funny is the theory of time travel is more accepted
mm-hmm.
than anything else, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, not really, considering we'll eventually discover time travel, and we'll figure out how to abuse it.
Well, if John Teeter is correct, we're not too far away from that.
Yep. Well, that's if he's correct. Quick, go buy. This is not financial advice. Just quick, go buy stock in the company that he talks about. All right, well.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Forgot about what?
The company.
Yeah, the company. He mentions that company big time. It's like, so that company's still around in 2036. Well, good to know. You should buy their stock.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we've hit 11 o'clock. We've been at this for a couple hours. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Agreed.
Let's wrap it up and let's play us out of here with this one.
Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty boy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said, come here with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. I was just a boy of teens. It was yesterday, it seems. Walking down the street after a dance. By the corner stood a girl with her hair all up in curls. Her motion to me wasn't hard to grasp. Well, she had things I'd never seen, and Lord knows I was pretty green. She motioned me to follow her sweet path. She said, honey, come upstairs. I knelt and said my prayers. As I closed the door, here's what she said to me.
Come here, you sweet thing.
Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said, come here with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I knew not what to do, so I just removed my shoes. After all, I didn't know her well. I was nervous as could be, but she smiled so patiently. The room was cool, but I was hot as hell. Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said, come here with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Morning lifted up my eyes, across my fingers gave a sigh. All at once came someone to the door. A voice pounded at the air. I know my daughter's in there. She said calmly as my bare feet hit the floor. Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. Look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said come here with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I told her I was not that kind of boy.
That's a cute little song.
That's an awesome song. I like it.
All right. Well, that's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.